If you're in the world of pharmaceutical manufacturing, you already know that picking out a new piece of equipment isn't just a simple purchase. Oh no, it's a huge strategic decision. So today, we're going to break down exactly how to select the right dry syrup powder filling and capping machine. We'll turn what feels like a really complex choice into a clear, actionable process.
And really, that's the big question you have to ask yourself, isn't it? Because this decision is going to ripple through everything you do, your output, your product quality, and yep, your regulatory compliance. You're not just buying a piece of hardware, you are picking a partner that's going to be with you for the long haul.
So, here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with why this choice is so critical in the first place. Then, we're diving into the nitty-gritty of how these machines actually work. After that, we'll figure out how to size the right solution for your needs and get into the weeds on configuration and sealing. And to wrap it all up, we'll give you a super practical checklist and tackle the most common questions out there.
Okay, Section 1. Why does this all matter so much? Well, it pretty much boils down to the 4 pillars of pharma packaging. You've got accuracy, hygiene, speed, and of course, compliance. Get one of these wrong and the whole thing can fall apart.
I mean, just look at the difference here. A poorly matched system is just a constant headache. You're fighting slowed output, you're wasting expensive product, and you're creating a compliance nightmare for yourself. But the right machine? Well, that becomes the engine of your entire production line. It streamlines everything, makes sure every single bottle is consistent, and lets you automate with total confidence.
So how do you actually find that right machine? Well, it really starts with understanding the fundamentals. Getting a handle on the core technology is the absolute first step to making a smart investment. So let's pop the hood and see how these things actually work.
Okay, so here's a look at a modern integrated system. Before we break down all the parts, just notice how the different stages, the filling, the capping, they're all built into one seamless unit. And that design, that's not just for making things run faster. It's absolutely essential for keeping contamination out.
Now, at the very heart of this machine is a process called volumetric dosing. It's this incredibly precise method where an agitator keeps the powder flowing nice and consistently into these adjustable little cavities. This, right here, is the secret sauce to getting that perfect, repeatable fill amount in every single bottle.
This breaks down the whole sequence perfectly. So the powder flows down from the hopper and that agitator makes sure it doesn't clog up. Then, a sensor checks to make sure a bottle is actually there, which triggers the no bottle, no fill feature. That alone saves so much waste. Next, the dosing cavity dispenses the exact amount, and a plunger and funnel guide it cleanly into the bottle. It's simple, it's elegant, and it's incredibly effective.
All right, on to our third section, sizing your solution. This is where we match all that cool technology to your specific real-world operation. We're talking everything from the shape of your bottles to the scale of your entire production line.
When we talk about bottle geometry, it is so much more than just how tall the bottle is. The diameter, the shape of the neck, even how stable it is on a conveyor. All of that affects the machine's performance. And listen, if you're running multiple products, you absolutely need a machine with interchangeable parts, things like star wheels and feed worms, so you can handle all that variety without costly downtime.
And that brings us to a really key strategic choice. Do you go with a single machine or a full line? A standalone unit is perfect for smaller ops or lines dedicated to just one product. But if you're growing, a full integrated line is essential. Think of it like adding lanes to a highway. It prevents the traffic jams that happen when one part of your process just can't keep up with another.
Within that choice, there's another one: linear versus rotary. A linear system uses a kind of start-stop motion, which is great for lower output needs and takes up less space. But if you need serious speed, a rotary system, with its continuous, fluid motion, is the only way to go. Yeah, the initial investment is higher, but for high-volume production, it pays for itself in pure efficiency.
Okay, Section 4. We've filled the bottle with incredible precision, but the job is not done. Not even close. Now we have to protect that product. This section is all about sealing and capping, making sure what's inside stays pure and safe.
And this is where a monobloc configuration really gets to shine. By combining the filling and the sealing all into one single machine, it dramatically cuts down the time the open bottle is exposed to the air. This is huge for minimizing the risk of contamination from moisture or dust, plus it saves a ton of valuable floor space.
And when we talk about sealing, we have got to talk about torque control. This isn't just about twisting a cap on. It's about applying the exact right amount of rotational force. Too little, and you've got a leaky seal. Too much, and you can crack the cap or even damage the bottle threads. Getting this right is completely non-negotiable.
This quote just sums it up perfectly, doesn't it? That final seal is a direct connection to your customer. A cap that's impossible to open is just frustrating, while a loose one could mean the product is ruined. That precision torque control we were just talking about, that's the bridge. It guarantees both product integrity and a good customer experience.
So we've covered the why and the how. Now let's bring it all together. In this next section, we're going to give you a really practical, actionable checklist to walk you through the entire decision-making process. Think of this as your homework. Before you even think about talking to a vendor, have the answers to these questions ready. Know your bottle specs inside and out. Define your target output. That's what's going to drive that linear versus rotary choice. Understand how your powder behaves, and be really honest about how much flexibility you need, what your hygiene standards are, and how much space you've actually got. This checklist is your foundation.
And finally, let's wrap up by tackling the top 5 questions that seem to come up again and again during the selection process. Getting the answers to these right can often make all the difference in the world. First up, what are the main factors? It really just boils down to those key things we just covered in the checklist. It's your specific packaging, your required speed, the properties of your powder, and the regulations you have to follow. Nail those 4 and you are well on your way.
Question 2. Is a rotary machine always the best choice? No, absolutely not. It's a fantastic, high-speed solution for massive operations, but for smaller facilities, a linear system is often a much more practical and cost-effective choice. It's all about matching the right tool to the right job. Third, why are we so obsessed with torque control? It's simple. It protects the product from contamination, and it protects your brand's reputation by making sure your customer doesn't have a bad experience with your packaging. It's one of those small details that has a huge impact.
Can a single machine handle a bunch of different bottle sizes? Yes, it absolutely can, if it's designed for it. This is where you have to look for those specific features, those interchangeable parts we mentioned, like star wheels and feed worms. That's what gives you the flexibility to switch between products without a major headache.
And our final question, why is that immediate seal so incredibly vital? Well, it's because dry powder is extremely sensitive. Any exposure to the open air puts it at risk from moisture and dust, which can compromise the product's stability and get you into hot water with regulators. So after all this, what's the one key takeaway? Your choice of machine basically defines your production's potential, so choose wisely.